Okay? Trauma. I know a little bit about trauma because I got run over by a truck on a motorcycle. So that was a bit of trauma. When I got to the hospital, they told me they were cutting off my leg. So that was a little bit of trauma. Okay? But we need to change our definition of trauma because we think trauma is just horrible things or war zones or car crashes, you know, sexual molestation, any of those things, which are horrifying, and we should. But you got to expand trauma to anything that the nervous system views as life-threatening. Anything your nervous system views as life-threatening. Okay? Everybody's like clicking off things, huh? It's like a baby being 2 years old and crying is a trauma. Or a mother and father is fighting in front of them. Or there's nobody around, can be traumatic. Or there's a lot of people around and nobody's playing with them. Those are just as trauma-inducing as war zones. And in more cases than not is why people end up in my chair. Because most things that are imprinted in you happen from 0 to 5 years old. And everything else just keeps getting thrown on top of it. Okay? But the best part is, kind of paradoxical, scary, and kind of cool, is just because people suffer from trauma, they aren't broke. They just feel that way. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma it is. God knows that they feel that way. But trauma, when you're manifesting symptoms, is an indication that your system is working properly. Okay? You just didn't know it because nobody got the instruction manual that came with your body. It wouldn't matter because if you did, it'd be like the remote for the TV. You'd throw it in the corner and you still wouldn't know. But that's the case. So, give you a basic understanding. And I got a lot of this from David Schneider and Brent Baum. Brent's the originator of HMR, holographic memory resolution. Anybody follow him at all? Okay. Your body basically works in the language of feelings and pictures and holograms. And all of these holograms are connected all around you, okay? And that's basically what your body uses, your neurology uses to talk to all the different parts. So, on a normal day, and after moving this meeting 5 different times, thank you very much, guys, for coming out. Appreciate it. But the whiteboard didn't make it. So, if on a normal day, if you're just going through waves of little traumas, okay, would just kind of go like that. You know, everybody feels them. And when something happens that's traumatic, whether it's big, you'll get a big spike, which is a big emotional spike in your system. When you get all the way up to the top of this is T-0, okay? The very tip of it. But as this trauma is coming about, you know, whether it's an accident and you know, you're sliding into a truck or whatever it is, your system is monitoring this all the way up. At T-1, right before T0, which is the maximum amount of trauma, your body does something really cool. It shuts off. It quits recording. It literally just takes that canister, all right? It takes everything that's going on, throws it into a canister, and throws it somewhere in your body. Okay? At T1. T0, you never even knew it happened. All right? And that accounts a lot for why you have blackouts, or why you can't remember things, why you think that you're going along in the story with your head and you think you know what was going to happen, but in a lot of cases you really don't, because that system totally took it, zipped it up, threw it down there. You're never going to know it, okay? When I had you point to that feeling, that you had the first time, okay, when we did the picture, okay? You pointed to a feeling, you just found the somatic address of where that lives, that canister for that in your body. And when I asked you what the color was, now you started pulling out attributes that are locked up in that container. All right, that container is all of those containers that are in your body, and there's a lot of them, okay? They hold everything you knew from the beginning up until the moment that it got locked. It's like an old computer, you know? It's got, pull it up, it knows everything up to Windows 4, and that's it. Nothing comes in after that, okay? And every time you access it, it changes a little bit, okay? Because there's only certain parts that your neurology is going to bring up to the surface. Because in your conscious mind, a human can only literally work on 7 plus or minus 2 things at a time. Whereas your unconscious mind is working on, like, 2 million to 20 million every second, okay? And if you are consciously working on 7 plus or minus 2, and the guy in the front of the room suddenly tells you that because you're sitting in the chair and you can feel the fabric of the chair, you now feel the tingle in your left foot. You just took away something else because now you're thinking about your left foot. And if I say that tingle moves to your right foot, now using up 2. So they will constantly shift. Your subconscious mind is doing millions and millions and millions of things all at once. All right? And over time, that neurological sorting system begins to group things together that are similar. And they start throwing them into places wherever they are, grouping them together. Okay? And a lot of this, to make it easy, reminds me of Ghostbusters. Okay? The zapping stuff, they get in the stuff, they throw it in a can. Boom, problem solved. And then that problem starts coming back up, and they need a bigger can. And they need something stronger. They need something stronger. Any of it sound familiar yet? How many of you have ever just driven down the street on a beautiful day, got the top down, the radio's playing, dee, 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 dee. And all of a sudden some fucked up memory from when you were 15 just bounces in your head. Okay? That's that Ghostbuster shit coming up. Okay? So you immediately just pull over and deal with it, right? Solve the problem. Nah, you put your foot down, you turn the radio up, boom. It gets tossed back into the next container and waits to start bubbling up again, and whenever it wants. Whenever it feels like you have a moment, it's going to bring it back up and try and get a resolution to put it somewhere. Okay? And it'll sort all these things by commonality. And a lot of diseases are then going to be manifested from those areas. Okay? It's your neurology, your body, which is just, you'll run out of body parts long before your subconscious mind will run out of ideas to get your attention. Okay? And a lot of them are just repressed emotions, sicknesses and being sick and little illnesses, all kinds of stuff. So deal with them when they come up. How deep do I want to go into it? How deep do you want to go into this rabbit hole, guys?
I'm really curious.
What are you suggesting? Yeah. How do you just deal with it?
Yeah.
How do you just deal with it? Well, what you do is, very simply, is very simply, wait a minute, there is no simple way. Is this part up here, which is T0, okay? I love my whiteboard, It's very clean. You go up to T1, it stops recording. T0 happens. You either live or you die. It's the only 2 things that happen there. If you live, problem solved, you come back down to T1 again, and it starts recording on the way back down. You don't have that part that's up there to remember. Okay? So what we do is we take and we go back and we inject a new story into that container. Okay? To remove those blank spots, to give you a reason of what happened, okay? Does that make any sense?
So, but assuming that if you can fix it, you can screw it up even more, though, right?
You can screw it up even more?
Yeah, like you put a story that you thought would fix it, but in reality it didn't fix it, so you just put some crap on it, and it's still bad.
No, you could absolutely fix it.
No, I'm saying I know it's possible to fix it, but being that you can fix it, couldn't you potentially, if you don't know what you're doing, make it worse?
No.
Huh?
Hmm.
Cool. No, I'm sorry, I like it.
In actuality, no. Go ahead and pick something that you don't like, that's on a small scale, like a 1 to 10, it's like a 1 or 2. And find something that you want to change or that you don't really like, and then go ahead and point to it.
Like physical strain on my body, tension.
Yeah. Just anything inside of you that you don't like. More negative as positive.
Hello. Yeah. So, I guess there's a little bit of tension right here, just a little bit, like a 2.
Okay. And then there's a color that's associated with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I want you to do is just with your finger, just trace around that energy, whatever shape it is, and notice everything about it. Notice the shape, what it feels like, whether it's sharp, whether it's smooth, whether it has a weight. Okay? What does it feel like? What does it look like to you?
It's a really weird shape. It's like lumpy but smooth and wide and just weird.
It's lumpy and smooth and what?
Just like white peachish.
White peachish?
Energy, yeah.
Okay. Does it have a temperature?
It's like a lukewarm.
Lukewarm?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I just want you to go to like the middle of that energy.
Okay.
All right. And then what I'd like you to do is go all the way back to the beginning of that energy, where it first started, wherever this pain first started, whatever the first scene, situation, or event was that ever caused it. And just kind of go back through that energy like a thread going through the eye of a needle, just going all the way back to the very first scene of it. And let me know when you get there.
How do I know when I get there?
Just keep following it till you know you get to the very first scene, the very first event that had anything to do with that energy.
Okay.
Your subconscious will find it. It'll take you there. Just let it go.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Are you inside or outside?
Inside a car.
Inside a car?
Mm.
Okay, is it daytime or nighttime?
Daytime.
Okay. Are there people there or are you by yourself?
One friend.
One friend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now as you look at your hands, are they big boy hands, little boy hands, or somewhere in between?
The big boy hands.
Big boy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you had to guess, about how old are you?
Oh, actually, this year. So.
It's this year?
Yeah. Just
Okay.
it's a mild tension. So.
Okay.
I just started.
And did this ever come up before this, in this energy? Before this point of this year?
Not this one.
Is there ones that are related to that one?
I suppose so.
Okay. So if you would, then just take and follow that all the way back to the beginning of the very first one, of the ones that are related. Subconscious will just flow through and it'll go through and it'll take you back to wherever the beginning is.
I don't know where it's going, but it's going
That's okay.
somewhere.
It doesn't matter. Your subconscious will find it. Just let it go. Just let it follow it. Because right now it's winding through all the memories that were related to it that came afterwards. And it's going to find its way all the way back to the very first one.
I feel like it's getting blocked.
Okay. So when you look at your hands with where you're getting blocked right now, are they big? Are they small?
Very small.
Small?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you had to guess, how old are you?
4?
4?
I have no idea. Yeah, very small. So like around 4.
Okay. Now, are you by yourself? Are you with people?
I can't even imagine the scene, but I feel like I'm with people.
Just first impression.
And the people, I guess.
Don't try and make sense out of it. Just let it answer for you.
That's the weird thing.
When your subconscious answers, all right, it's that little voice. It's the first thing to come out. Okay? It always sounds like bullshit. And it's something that you want to immediately change. And that's usually the voice you should be listening to.
Mm.
So are you by yourself or with other people?
With other people.
Okay. And is it daylight or nighttime?
Daylight.
Do you have shoes or bare feet?
Bare feet.
Bare feet. Okay. So now look around and what's going on. And tell me the story. Tell me the situation. What do you see happening around you?
I mean, I don't... I'm looking around and everyone's way taller than me, obviously. And something... Parents, I mean, I don't know. I just... I feel, or I hear really escalated voices, and I think it's my parents yelling.
Parents are yelling?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they yelling at you?
No, at each other.
Just at each other?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't like them yelling?
No.
Okay. And so what are you doing while they're yelling?
I don't know what just happened, but I'm getting really anxious. What am I doing? I'm just staring in kind of awe and confusion.
Okay. And you're not liking this feeling at all, right?
No.
Okay. So, let me ask you a question. If you could go back in time, okay, and give that little child that you're looking at the best advice that would make everything better, what would you tell him?
It's going to be okay and it's not your fault.
Okay, it's going to be okay and it's not your fault. What else would you tell him?
This will get better.
It's going to get better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to step into that scene just as you are today. Okay? And I want you to go all the way back. And I want you to grab hold of that little guy. And I want you to give him a big ass hug. And I want you to tell him that you love him and that you're always going to be there for him. You will always be there for him. Okay? And then tell him that you're from 2017. And life gets pretty fucking cool. All right? Now, tell him everything that he's going to need to know. Everything to understand, to feel great inside. Everything from where he is now to where he's going to catch up to you. Okay? Just explain it to him. All right? And when you've done that, just nod your head and let me know. So let me ask you a question. What do you think this little guy would want to make him the happiest fucking camper in the world right now? What do you think it would be?
The 4-year-old? Like
Huh?
me? The 4-year-old me?
Yeah,
Or-
the 4-year-old you. I have a client that all she wanted was hugs and ice cream, endless ice cream, to never have to stop eating ice cream. What does this little guy want that's going to make the world absolutely best for him right now?
Just, I don't know, like toys and hugs and love and affection. I don't know.
Toys and hugs and love and affection?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I want you to do is I want you to create a movie for this little guy with toys and love and affection, okay? I want you to script the movie. I want you to pick the actors, okay? You're going to make a movie that's going to be a top 10 movie, okay? It's going to be absolutely fucking cool because this kid's a little rock star, all right? And just design the whole movie, and when you have it there, I want you to start watching it with him over and over and over and over again. Just keep watching that movie with him. I want you to, if it's not bright enough, turn up the color. If it's quiet, turn up the sound. If you need to make changes, make those changes now. And when it's perfect in every way, I want you to just take them by the hand and walk into that movie and live that movie over and over and over from the beginning all the way through, and just keep going through it faster and faster and faster until you start going through it at the speed of thought, over and over, over and over. Now there's a feeling that comes along with this, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's a color that's associated with it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What color is it?
Green.
Green?
Yes.
Okay. So what I want you to see now is that green energy just coming right out of you and filling up the entire room. Just let it fill up the room, swirling all around, going around the picture, swirling around the picture, like making a frame around that picture, okay? Now is that movie, is that crystal clear? It's not fuzzy at all?
It's a little fuzzy. I'm
A little bit
trying to, like,
fuzzy.
make it
So those
HD.
knobs underneath, turn those knobs until it's completely clear, until there's no fuzziness to it at all. Okay? Got it?
Okay.
Okay, so now, like out of your back pocket, I just want you to pull out your little camera. Right there at that movie, aim it, and take a snapshot. Okay?
All right.
And with that picture, all right, I want you to take that picture and use both hands and just open up that picture as far as it'll go. And feel the difference as that picture grows. How much better is that when it keeps growing? Okay, so now what I want you to do is lift that picture up over your head. All right, and now pull the picture right down through your head, right down through your body. Okay? Pull it all the way through. And feel the changes as you start pulling it through. And when you get to the bottom, I want you to pick the picture up again, lift it up, and just keep making passes. Just keep right down through your body. And notice that original feeling, that original energy, that original picture you had just disappearing away, like an ice cube with hot water running over it. Each time you make a pass, it becomes less and less and less until there's nothing left of it. And when there's nothing left, then just go ahead and let me know. When it's all completely gone. Whatever emotional feelings that start coming up is okay. Just let them, because it's your neurology making changes. You're right now eliminating all of the old programming and installing all of the new programming of the story. And as you keep making those passes, that picture gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't see it. How's that feeling now?
Really, really good.
Really good?
Really good. Yeah.
So do this. Try and bring back that original feeling and notice what happens instead.
It's like, I don't know, it's like a tickle right now.
You don't want to do that right now?
No, it's like a tickle. I mean, like I'm like trying to grab at it, and it's like, like I don't know. It's like a fuzzy thing, way out there.
Okay. So now open your eyes and see how good you feel.
Shit, that was crazy.
Give him a big hand. Whether it's a trauma, is something that was in a war zone or a bedroom or a playground or whatever it was, the mechanics are always going to be exactly the same. Okay? And with this process, you don't need to dredge up all of the pain that a lot of processes do in order to get rid of trauma. You get a question?
Yes. So, what if you say you're not a professional and say you go back and try to change the memory, but you don't change it all the way?
Mm-hmm.
What do you recommend for that?
Well, if you didn't get back all the way to the first one, like we did with him, okay? His first one was at 15, okay? Almost everything you're going to find, if you do this a lot, do you do this for a living?
No.
Okay. You're going to find that almost everything is from birth to 5, sometimes 7 years old, is where you're going to go back to. So I'm going to ask them, did it ever happen before? Or were the things related? They're going to find it and they're going to follow that path, whatever the subconscious is to get there. Okay? If you didn't get all the way back, it'll probably pop up again, which just means you didn't get all the way back. So you would do it again and you would dig harder and go all the way back to the first scene. Once you've gotten to the first scene and you've injected a new story in it, okay, it all changes. All changes. Because now there's a reason, okay? That T-0 that you never knew, or that he never knew. Because that trauma as a little kid at 4 years old in a car is very real. Okay, and it'll get to a point in the fight that he'll black out. All right? It'll get to a point when I get hit by a truck that I blacked out. So in my story, I injected into myself, all right, that when I got hit, that it went up in the air and myself and the bike was going through the air, at which point I was flipping off the driver who hit me with a truck. And when I hit the ground, I got up to hit him. Now, did that really happen? I don't know. But it's a story I injected into mine to get me past the trauma, okay, and to not have the blackouts anymore. All right? You can do those on yourself if you can get back to the first one. You can certainly do it to other people. But yeah, if you don't get to the first one and it comes back, nothing bad will happen from it, okay, other than the original story came back. You just didn't get far enough to make the change. So you do it again, okay? Hypnosis is the ugliest, sloppiest process in the world, okay? You can screw it up 9 times out of 10. On the 10th one, right, and boom, it's perfect. So you don't have to worry about it. If something like that were to come back, you do it again. Was it? You tell me. It's a form, yeah. There's some hypnosis in there. There's a lot of energy work. And they all work together with me, okay? I will take any part of any system that works to make things work faster to be able to change people or to have them get rid of the pain or to have them get rid of the disease. So yes, some of it, he went into trance, okay? The moment that he started going back, and actually the moment he saw the energy, okay, you're now in a light form of trance. And the farther he went back, the deeper in trance he went, until he got into that situation and he could see it, okay? And most people, he's up front, so most people don't see it. But you could see where some of the emotions were starting to come down because he was starting to feel it. Okay? You get there, you inject a new story. Yeah? Makes sense? Piece of cake, right? Do it for people in different realms with that. For like PTSD, the whole world is up in arms with PTSD and all kinds of stuff. And it's bad. But realistically, it's the same thing as we just did here. Okay? They don't know what happened at T0. So you have to take them all the way back to the very first scene. Now, some of those can get pretty painful, okay? And they're going to go through a lot of emotion. And you inject a new story at that point, and all the rest of the images from that point all the way up will change. You'll go through changes with this for, throughout the day, tonight, maybe the next couple days. Yeah. And it changes, right? So when you think back to when it happened, how do you feel now as opposed to what you used to?
I honestly never, I was confused on why I never remembered anything before I was 5. And now I can see kind of why.
Why you blocked it out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very common. When you're born, you have like 4 hooks, okay, in your system. Either do I like it or I don't like it? Do I feel safe or I don't feel safe? Okay? That's your entire world from when you're born to 5. And after that, little hooks just keep, of what comes along, gets thrown on there. Subconscious goes, this looks familiar, put it here. And after it puts one, everything else keeps going there. So if you have something like you did, okay, from 4 years old that got thrown on this hook, everything that comes behind it that's related to that is going to keep getting thrown on top of it. So it becomes worse and worse and worse over time. It actually wasn't a big deal, okay? But you being small, you viewed it as a trauma. And like I said, you got to change the definition because the neurology perceives it to be a trauma is a big deal. But you can change a hologram with another hologram, like we did there. Okay, you can change those containers. If you don't deal with the containers, eventually, then you have the Ghostbusters mess. Make sense?
How many times do you need to do that, like to resolve the whatever? Do you need to do it more than once? Do you need to?
Personally, I've tried it myself to kind of like try to do NLP like on myself, by myself. It didn't work. This is really effective, so.
Yeah, well, NLP sucks. I love it, okay? But it's the hardest thing in the world to do, okay? There's only 31 languages, okay? And you have all this knowledge, and then something happens, and you get there, and it's like, which one do I use? Okay, so it's very difficult to be effective with NLP. It's very difficult to be effective on yourself with NLP. But to answer your question, okay, that was about 6 minutes, and he's done. That problem is solved. Okay, and for a lot of problems, you can get back to the first situation. Okay, you can get them wiped out that quickly. I've worked on people with cancer that we've gotten rid of, tumors, fibromyalgia, Hashimoto's, and they just, boom, it just falls off and they completely change. They go back to the doctor. One girl, Kathy, who has been nuked 37 times in her life before I started working with her. And now her body is just a mess from all of the things that the doctors have done over the years, okay? But we started working on the cancer, which was coming up again in another area. And she went back to the doctor, and they tested her. And they called her up, and they said, we need you to come back in. We got to retest you. She's like, well, what for? They wouldn't tell her. So they brought her back in. They retested the whole thing. And then they called her up and said, come in. I said, what in the hell are you doing? She goes, what do you mean? She goes, we tested you. Now, we retested you because we didn't believe the results. And on the second retest, it's the same thing. All the test shows, you have never had cancer. Because when you get back to the original scene, you can wipe it all out. She has a world of problems that have come from all of the cures that doctors have done over the years, and she has organs that are starting to fail and you know, crazy stuff that we keep working on one by one by one. But yeah, and they will turn. Neurological Lymes, you know, and boom, you can take it out in a matter of hours. You know, if it's something simple like that, it's very quick. If it's bigger things and there's other things that are related, okay, you may have to take out a big section and go back and do another little section. Okay, but those two technically aren't related. Yeah.
What psychologists do bring about maybe similar results to the program. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Okay. Some people, they can have, or from religion, they have spontaneous healings.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something that changes in their neurology based on what you're saying right now that causes that to happen. So is there a similarity on what goes on in religion with spontaneous healing versus the linguistic programming?
It's virtually the same thing.
Same thing.
Okay, it's just that with most places when they get it, it's not consistent. Okay, because they're not getting back in most cases. They're not getting back to the very first scene. Okay, when they do, when they get back to the first scene that caused whatever it is, and it doesn't matter whether it's a preacher who's going through this with somebody and consulting with them, okay, or really anybody. But if they get back to the first one, you're going to have a change.
How do you know if you're back to the first one?
You by following what they do, by watching what they do. Okay, it has nothing to do with what. No, it's fine. It has nothing to do with what you think. Okay, it's where your subconscious is going to take you, and you follow him. You watch and see where it's going. Okay, and the moment that he gave up consciously trying to figure this out, okay, of what was going on, and subconscious took him right to the first scene. Yeah. Okay. You look like you got a question. Yeah. No? All right.
No pressure.
No questions.
Well, think of one, because I've gotten so sidelined, I forgot where I was going now.
Do you ever go back to past lives?
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that effective?
It depends on the situation. It can be very effective, and there are times when you have to regress people.
I'm Italian,
There's a girl, Kelly, who usually comes in and helps. And when I work with Kelly, we had to regress her all the way back through being born to where she was just dust prior to. Because one of her biggest problems growing up was the fact that her mother didn't want her and tried to abort her and wrapped her stomach to hide the fact that, she was pregnant. So Kelly, for most of her life, couldn't get her shoulders open and couldn't take a deep breath. All right? Until we did this, what was it? A couple months ago. Yeah. And now she's like completely changing, can take deep breaths, her shoulders open, she's losing a ton of weight. But yeah, she had all kinds of fears that came from that, and all kinds of fears, and she didn't know what those fears were at the time. Some of them she had kind of inklings because her family has told her over the years that, you know, you weren't wanted, and her mother came back later and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, you will take it back to wherever that first scene is. And with her, that first scene was in the womb, duck in a hanger. Because the interesting part is, even though she's in the womb, anybody's in the womb, okay? There's two schools. Some people say it's alive, some people say it's not, okay? But it's alive. And the subconscious is recording from the first time that cell gets put together, from inside, okay? And she didn't consciously know what a hanger was or any of that. And as well as everybody in the room. You were recording from day one. Now, at some point when you learn language at 5, 6, 7 years old, now your subconscious is grabbing these voice patterns and going, this one matches, this one matches, you know? Sounds that were going on or things that you saw as a baby, and now you're seeing things happen as you've been able to talk, okay, and communicate with people. And now it's taking those things and putting them together, and it's building that story for you to all the way back here. You have no clue that it's doing that, but it's in there, okay? And it's just crazy stuff.
Have you found where karma plays a role in the situation?
Karma? Karma is a beautiful thing.
It could be.
It's a beautiful thing. I use karma in a process similar to this, in getting rid of junk that people have within their system. Okay, things and having the karma cops go back and deliver that out to the people who gave them to in the first place. And you should see the amazing change that comes over people as they start to smile and see that all the stuff that they've taken in from people is now delivered back to them. Yes, I don't play with karma. Karma will catch up to you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? It will catch up to you. It will catch up to you.
Were you able not to help somebody because of something karmic?
Because of something karmic?
Yes. You said you got rid of it, but has there been any instance where you have not been able to help somebody because it was something so far deep?
Nope. Knock on wood. Some of them have been challenging.
Okay.
You know, because anytime you go in, or you have no idea. You know, I mean, you know, I pull people up and do this, and it's not scripted. I have no idea what's going to come out.
Sure.
Okay? And, you know, I feel sorry for you guys, because I'm not going to let them go till I get back to and get the result of it. So if it happens to be something that's really deep and goes for hours, I'll still be up here till I get done with it. It's just how I am. Have you met my brother?
Sometimes you run up against people that just, for whatever reason, they're tough to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And the reactions seem to want to see harm. Would you consider that? Do you consider evil something separate, or is it just a dysfunction of the neural system?
It's something I don't want to deal with, to be honest with you. If someone at the core is that way, if there's a reason that I get the feeling, if there's a reason that it happened and they want to change sincerely, that's another story. But someone who is basically evil at heart is not going to end up in front of me because there is nothing they want to change. They're very happy with what they are, and they're very happy with spreading what it is they're trying to spread. They're not looking for a change, at least that I found anyway. Until they get to some point where they do want to change. At that point, yeah, if somebody wants to change, I'll work with them. I'll go through hell with people. And it's amazing when you work with people that have some really dark issues. Okay, he didn't tell me what was going on. Basically, there's a little bit. Okay, and with most situations, it's going to be like that. There'll be enough to come out where I can take it into another direction if I think it has to go that way. All right, but the specific details of what happened, until you get to like rape cases, which tend to have a whole lot more detail, which are never easy to do and go through and listen, okay? Because I'm going through it as much as they are at that point, okay? And, you know, moving what they got to do and getting back to the first thing. So you feel a lot of it doing it, you know, but that's the same as if you're a counselor and listening to the story and you're in a church or somewhere else, you're going to be affected by it. I think I get affected by it more by what I do, but yeah, virtually anybody that's going through one of those stories is going to get affected by it, I believe. Yeah. One of NLP's claims to fame was a realization of a personal timeline. Right? You guys all familiar with that? You guys ever do one? At an event? Go to one of those big events? Did the timeline? You felt great, right? Boom, 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 boom. 2 months later, what happened? You were back where you were. Yes or no? Did it work for you or not?
I have good experiences and ones that didn't stick.
Okay. And that's the problem with them. Okay, because if you can't get back to the original thing and you can't jettison the emotion, it's not going to stick. Now, if you do, if you can do personal timelines, okay, like on a one-on-one basis, and you can get it a jettison, and they work really good. You start doing them in a room with 10,000 people, some are going to work, some are going to be back for the next one, okay? Guess who I trained with for 20 years? But NLP tends to work on lighter trance states, okay? Whereas old-style hypnosis takes them deeper and deeper and deeper into a deeper trance state, and it's much more effective in getting there. It's tough to get to the first scene in a light trance state because it's still too easily distracted. And you still, at that point, have a lot of the conscious mind trying to come back and forth. But I have a question for you. Is it the conscious mind that drives you? Or the subconscious mind?
Both conscious.
Everybody thinks right now that it's the conscious mind and that you're trying to get into the subconscious mind. But what if it's the subconscious mind that does everything and it just puts this little piece up there for you to see, which is the conscious mind? Because you can only do 7 plus or minus 2.
I forgot that. What the hell
Just
is
a thought.
plus or minus 2?
Well, it can be for languages, but for the mind, for yourself, okay, it's what you can concentrate on. Is 7 things plus or minus 2 at any given time. Your conscious mind is all it can do.
So 7, 9, 4, 5? Because plus or minus 2, I was just confused on that. Plus or minus-
Well, 7, 9, or 5, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going, is that a trick question?
I know, I heard it, and it was very little explained, and we were going through this thing, so it's like, thank you.
Yeah, you can reduce traumas like we did with you. You can reduce traumas like we did with you. With the spinning. You can reduce traumas by doing a magic frame on a picture. All of those are injecting different things into the picture. And any one of them is much more effective than going to those psycho people, the big long name. But we changed the story because we're allowed to, and you guys are the ones that are in charge of the video that you're creating for your life and the editing deck, so you can change it anytime you want. Thing is, you have the right and authority to do it. It's just nobody let you know you could, so you continue going on the way it's always been. You have the right to make life the way you remember your life to be better. It's not we don't do it because of the way that things happen, like most people say. That's a cop-out. We do things because of the way we remember that they happened. Okay? And every time you go back and access a memory into your past, you change that memory again, just by accessing it. So if you have really good ones, the ones you're thinking about now are nothing even close to what they were in the beginning, because each time you went in, it changed a little bit. Okay? Does this all make sense to you guys? Yeah, sure. Anybody have questions? Well, go ahead. Take your time.
I wish I'd have been here from the beginning.
Now you know for next time. All right. There's a couple cards under chairs somewhere around. Keep one for yourself. The other one, if you want, I'm giving everybody a free 30-minute consultation just for coming out and putting up with 5 missed meetings and hurricanes and all kinds of shit. So just either give it to Rebecca or Vince, and I have my assistant set one up whenever I have free time, which is like crazy, but I'll get them worked in. All right? I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to solve anything in 30 minutes, okay? But, we'll find out what direction it goes, and if there's point you in the right direction for anything that you need after that, or where to go to get the best stuff.
I've got an interesting question. What's going on today? Let's say Harvey Weinstein marches into your office. He says, "I'm a mess here." He says, "I'm a mess. How do I change my situation? What caused me to do this?" Where would you begin with somebody like that?
With Harvey Weinstein?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm not sure I want to go back into his story, because
He's asking for help. He's saying,
might get a little scary. But it would be the same effect. It would be, a larger discussion than this was, to try and find out where these root causes were.
would you make certain assumptions?
No, I don't assume anything. Okay? It's not me. I'm there to direct the process, to get you to the point of making a change. Okay? What comes along has nothing to do with me. It's you that's going to make the change. I'm just, pointing the bus in the right direction so you can get to that point. Because when you get to the first scene, the moment you change that, all the rest of it changed. And whether it's something that's that size or something that's much bigger, you can see the immediate change on their face. You can see immediately how they come out of it. So, yeah.
I have a question. So for people who do therapy and analysis, and they've been in those situations, because I feel like those things go on forever,
They do.
and not necessarily with results.
Well, there's a big result. They make a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's your, I guess, course of treatment or treatment plan that you see an outcome within? What's typical? You just saw one now within 6 minutes, correct? But I guess what would you say a commitment to this would be?
It depends on what it is, and it can vary. I mean, sometimes it's very simple things like this. I mean, I have people I can, you know, work with for a couple of minutes, boom, done, finished. Okay? And then there are people that have different levels or different layers, and you kind of got to work on them one by one by one by one. And then, you know, they want to work on their identity changes and core beliefs that get changed because they just found out that everything that they did in life was because of this, which was bullshit, and now that's gone, so they're kind of catching up to rebuild different things. So it just depends. I usually work with people anywhere between 3-6 months to a year, depending on what type of work it is, whether it's like beliefs, whether it's serious stuff, whether it's CEOs that want to change the world and change everything else about it. Yeah, we do usually get together once a month, and then 2-3 calls during the month as well, and just work on one level after the next, after the next, after the next. And the changes can be pretty amazing. There's a girl in the back who's gone through some amazing changes. You thought you were going to get away with being quiet tonight, huh? That's what you get for sitting in the back. I'm going to pick on you every time.
I was here being nice, greeting people and talking about chocolate.
Yeah, she's gone through all sorts of changes, and I've worked with her a long time, and her life is completely turned around now, and problems that were shedded through processes similar to this, and now she's out opening up her own spa in West Palm Beach. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, you guys, I was completely resistant to it. And I'm like, this is all bullshit, whatever. You know? And I worked with him a couple times, and he like, literally, I'm like in Delaware driving down the road, and he's like, I want you to pull over right now. And I'm like, this isn't part of our call, like, you know? He's like, you need to pull over. This is what you need to do. And I'm like, next thing I know, like, emotional releases, like, stuff that I didn't even realize was even going on. It was crazy. I'm very thankful for him to get me to that level to make my transition here much easier. It's been good. It's been good.
Glad you did it too. Anybody else? All right, well, thanks again, guys, for coming out. Make sure you take the chocolate in the back, because if not, I'll have to do a weight loss program on myself. Happens. Huh? We'll have another one probably in a month. I'm not sure if it's going to be in this hotel or which one. Hopefully the hotels start coming back online, because personally I like the one I had that had a bar outside too, but yeah. Do what now?
Do you teach a class to get certified?
Do I? No, but he keeps picking on me to start one to certify people. It's probably something that'll come in the future, but no, not at the moment. But I can tell you some places you can go to get it that are, you know, I'll tell you afterwards. A guy that I worked with, David, for a lot of this, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hate to send him business, but he's a great guy to learn. He's extremely knowledgeable. He still amazes me to this day of what is contained in his head and keeps coming out and out and out. It's crazy. He never stops learning. All right, it's just he learns at a rate faster than I do, which is annoying because I'm crazy. But yeah, never stop learning, right? So give those cards to Rebecca or him. You guys don't want to leave, do you? It's all right. Can hang out.